When 12-year-old Ethan Cole looked the millionaire straight in the eye and said, "I'll translate it for $500, everyone in the room burst into laughter, everyone except the millionaire. 30 seconds later, that same man would fall silent, frozen in place, realizing the boy wasn't asking for money, he was asking for something far more valuable. And what happened after that moment would change both of their lives forever. If this story touched your heart, show your love, like, share, and comment your thoughts. Ethan Cole was not the kind of kid anyone noticed. At 12 years old, he walked through life quietly, as if afraid to take up space. He lived with his mother, Claire, in a tiny apartment above a closed-down bakery. His father had abandoned them 2 years earlier, leaving behind only debt, unpaid bills, and a promise he never kept: "I'll come back." He never did. Since then, Claire worked double shifts as a receptionist at a local translation agency, and Ethan, who had a strange gift for languages, spent most of his time helping her study documents she brought home. By age 12, he spoke English, French, and Spanish fluently. But the world didn't know that. To everyone else, he was just another quiet kid struggling to get by. And that's how the story should have stayed: simple, quiet, forgettable. But one Tuesday afternoon changed everything. Claire received a last-minute call from her boss, begging her to bring a specific translated file to a corporate event where an important guest from Europe was attending. She didn't want to bring Ethan along, but she had no choice. They couldn't afford a babysitter, and the place seemed safe, a luxury hotel downtown. When they entered the dazzling conference hall, Ethan felt out of place. Everyone was wearing suits and expensive watches, waiters carried silver trays, the floors shone like mirrors. At the center of it all stood Maxwell Grant, a 46-year-old billionaire known for his cold business decisions and his ability to turn anything into profit. People admired him, feared him, but no one ever really liked him. Claire approached the reception desk to deliver the envelope. Ethan stood beside her, clutching his backpack, trying to stay invisible. Just then, chaos broke out. The European guest had arrived, an older man named Henrik Rousseau, who spoke very little English. The interpreter supposed to translate for him was stuck in traffic. Maxwell's face tightened. Investors were watching. Cameras were rolling. A multimillion-dollar partnership depended on this meeting. One of Maxwell's assistants looked around and then, for reasons no one would ever understand, pointed at Ethan. "This boy speaks French," she said desperately. "He helped his mom with translation work before." Claire panicked. No, he's just a kid." But Maxwell, annoyed and on the verge of losing his deal, gave Ethan a long, skeptical look. "You," he said. "Can you translate this conversation?" Ethan swallowed hard. The room felt like it was closing in on him. Everyone was staring. He could have said no. He could have stepped back. But then he remembered his mother's tired eyes last night, the bills she hid under the table, thinking he didn't notice. He stepped forward instead. "Yes," Ethan said softly. "But I'll translate it for $500. The entire conference hall went silent for a second. And then, laughter exploded. People chuckled. Some whispered. Others smirked openly at the tiny kid daring to negotiate with a billionaire. Maxwell let out the loudest laugh of all. $500, he scoffed. For a child translation. Ethan didn't lower his eyes. His voice didn't shake. And that confidence, unexpected, almost unreal, shut Maxwell up. "It's not for me," Ethan said. "It's for my mom. She works so hard. She deserves a break." Maxwell's smile disappeared. And for the first time, he really looked at the kid standing before him, not a child, but someone carrying more responsibility than he should. "Fine," Maxwell said finally. "Translate. Let's see what you can do." What happened next shocked everyone. Henrik Rousseau began explaining the details of his project, a sustainable housing initiative across Europe. His speech was complex, filled with technical terms. The kind of vocabulary even professional translators struggled with. But Ethan didn't stumble. He didn't hesitate. He translated every sentence with perfect accuracy, speed, and clarity. Investors who had laughed earlier now leaned in, amazed. Maxwell's usually cold expression slowly transformed into something almost human: surprise, respect, and something deeper: regret. No one could tell. Henrik, the European guest, was the first to clap. This boy, Henrik said in accented English, is gifted. Very gifted. The room erupted in applause. But Maxwell Grant? He just stood there, frozen. For the first time in years, something pierced through the walls he had built around his heart, a memory. His own childhood. A small boy, just like Ethan, standing in a room far too big for him, trying to be strong for a mother who deserved better. Maxwell hadn't thought of her in years. When the clapping died down, Maxwell turned to Ethan. You earned it, he said quietly, handing him not $500 but $5,000. Claire gasped. Sir, this is too much. It's not, Maxwell replied. Your son saved a deal worth millions. Anne. He paused, clearing his throat. Kids like him don't come around often. But Ethan shook his head, pushing the envelope back. I don't want this much, he said. I only asked for $500. Maxwell was speechless. The boy refused money. A kid who clearly needed it. Who lived modestly. Who could have changed his life with a yes. Why? Maxwell whispered. Ethan's answer hit every heart in the room. Because money isn't everything, he said. I just wanted to help my mom breathe a little. The rest, someone else probably needs it more. That was the moment Maxwell Grant broke. Something inside him cracked, something cold, something old, something painful. He saw in Ethan everything he once wanted to be, honest, selfless, pure-hearted. And he saw everything he had lost becoming a billionaire. He knelt in front of Ethan, leveling himself with the 12-year-old. You taught me something today, he said. Something I should have learned long ago. Ethan smiled gently. What? That the world isn't changed by people with money, Maxwell replied. It's changed by people with heart. What happened afterward spread across social media within hours. Maxwell didn't just pay Ethan $5,000, he offered Claire a full-time job at twice her salary, with benefits she had never dreamed of. He also created a scholarship program named the Cole Initiative, designed to support gifted children from struggling families. And Ethan became the face, not for fame, but for hope. But what touched Ethan the most wasn't the money, the job, or the recognition. It was what Maxwell whispered to him before they parted. My mother would have been proud of a boy like you. Ethan didn't fully understand those words. Not then. But later that night, when Claire hugged him tighter than she had in years, he realized something powerful. Sometimes, the smallest act of courage can heal wounds you never knew existed.